Backing up plugins. As the final installment of the Backing Up mini-series, we'll explore backing up plugins in this edition of Stuart's Audacity Tips. Plugins are powerful, flexible, extremely useful, and potentially really confusing. As always, feel free to share this with friends and reduce the confusion. The category plugins includes two categories: plugins, or effects that come with Audacity, and third-party plugins. Although it's not really obvious, the tools that are available in the Effects menu in Audacity are actually plugins, as opposed to features that are built into Audacity. So what are plugins anyway? A plugin is just a tool that can be turned on or off, installed or uninstalled, in the Audacity interface. They make it possible to customize Audacity to include the tools that you use most often for your specific workflow, and remove the ones you don't use if you want to do so. Some plugins can be used with other DAWs too. They're not limited to Audacity and are created by developers other than the Audacity team. These are known as third-party plugins. There are two things that we need to understand in order to successfully back up plugins that we use. The first is where the actual plugin is kept on the computer, and the second is where Audacity stores your settings for the plugins. I'm going to answer the second question first because it's the easier of the two. As with all our Audacity settings, plugin settings are in the Audacity configuration folder, which is located here. In the configuration folder, there's a file named pluginregistry.cfg. This is where Audacity keeps all your settings for the plugins you have installed, both enabled and disabled. So to back up your plugin settings, you can copy this file to another storage medium. You'll notice there's also a folder named Plugins under the configuration folder. This is where the plugins you install into Audacity are placed. However, there's a bit of a catch here. Not all your plugins are stored in this folder. More on that momentarily. So, to make sure you don't lose any plugins, you should back up the Audacity configuration folder, as we've been over in every installment this week. But yes, there's a but here, and it's a big one. You should also know where the plugins that aren't in the Audacity configuration folder are on your system. For that, we need to look at the Manage Plugins tool. Under the Effect, Analyze, or Tools option on the main menu, the first option is Add Remove Plugins in Audacity 2 or Plugin Manager in Audacity 3. These options bring up the Manage Plugins tool. Yes, Audacity is of two minds as to whether plugin has a hyphen or not. For each plugin on your computer, the Manage Plugins tool has a path value that shows where that plugin is actually installed. In the example above, ACX Check is installed in the Plugins folder under the Audacity configuration folder. And if we look at that folder on this computer, that's what we see. So, if there's only that one plugin in the Plugins folder, where are all the others? Let's look at the Manage Plugins tool again. Each plugin's path value shows us where that plugin is located on the computer. Note that I have several that start with AU. These are plugins that come on every Mac, whether you know it or not, and Audacity recognizes them and adds them to your plugin registry. If you install a tool like Isotope RX, Audacity will recognize those plugins too. You can see where they all are in the Manage Plugins tool. So, to make sure you never lose a plugin, do you need to find all those locations and copy the plugin files to another storage medium? Unless you've downloaded a comparatively obscure plugin from somewhere, probably not. If you have, for example, the plugins from RX and the Apple plugins and ACX Check, then all you should do is make sure you put a copy of ACX Check somewhere, just in case you can't find it online when you need it. The others are part of your system or of another software package and will be reinstalled with them. No extra measures required. I hope you've enjoyed this series on backing up your Audacity settings and components. I've had a good time trying to put it all together in time to give you a nifty Christmas present, and it worked. The series is done, and it's not Christmas yet. Now I can sit in front of the fire and ignore this storm that's rolling in. Speaking of Christmas, it is my regular habit to spend the time between Christmas and New Year's Day recharging and getting ready for the next year's adventure. So I hope you have a wonderful holiday season in whatever manner you choose to celebrate, and don't worry if you don't hear from me for a couple of weeks. I look forward to bringing you more Stuart's Audacity tips in 2023. As always, if you have any questions you'd like to have addressed, send them to stuart.gofey@gmail.com. Hope this helps. I'm Stuart.